Tally, time to wake up. Tally, time to wake up.
Mirror make me pretty?
Sure, Tally. This is Morpha version 732.
I can make you very special.
You might not believe it, but in the future people no longer worry about their looks. At 16, everyone undergoes a genetic reconstruction surgery that turns them into tall, fair-skinned beauties, flawless in every way. Those who have been transformed are called great beauties. They enter the cities and live happy lives. Tally is one of them. In 3 months she'll turn 16 and face the biggest change of her life. Just then she gets a message from her best friend, Piries, asking to meet. Delighted, Tally runs out to see him. From an upper floor, the two of them use binoculars to gaze at the city's towers, where handsome men and beautiful women live carefree lives. Tally is awestruck by the scene. Thinking about Piries' operation scheduled for tomorrow, she feels a stab of jealousy, nearly grinding her teeth. She wishes her own birthday would come sooner. Piries comforts her, promising to message her once he reaches the city. They make a pact. Even if their faces change, the symbol of their friendship, a scar, will never be erased. The day of Piries' surgery arrives. Dr. Naya, who is in charge, appears, congratulates everyone undergoing the procedure, and invites them on stage. Before parting, Tally and Piries say a lingering goodbye and promise to meet again under their familiar bridge. Over the following month, while Piries is away, Tally's life turns dull and empty. She remembers their childhood at the bridge, Tally, always self-conscious about her plain looks, Piries smashing a device and cutting his hand, Tally immediately cutting her own to prove their friendship. Each day, machines sweep over her and fine-tune her appearance. It turns out that in the previous era, humanity's overexploitation of Earth almost brought about global collapse. Fortunately, scientists succeeded in developing a genetically modified flower, the white tiger orchid, which beautified the planet and supplies energy to the cities. At last, the day Tally and Piries agreed to meet arrives, but strangely, Piries seems to have gone silent. Tally decides to sneak out at night and head to the bridge where they'd planned to reunite, but Piries is nowhere in sight. Determined to learn why he broke his promise, Tally hatches a bold plan. She climbs the bridge and secretly slips into the city of the reconstructed. Spotting a mask dropped from above, she puts it on without hesitation. In the next instant, a strange spectacle unfolds. A blinding red light engulfs her body, and Tally transforms into a stunning girl in formal dress. Everything is so dazzling that she's momentarily intoxicated. She looks around in wonder, then remembers her goal. She stops a handsome young man and asks about the Garbo mansion. Following his directions, she reaches a grand building and actually finds Piries, completely changed after surgery. His hair now glitters. His eyes are no longer anything like before. Only when Tally removes the mask does he recognize her, but he is far less moved than she imagined. Calmly, he tells her they are no longer in the same class. Tally is stunned, until she notices Piries' hand bears no scar. At that moment, with her face uncovered, the city's AI system detects her, and security squads close in. She grabs a protective jacket nearby, throws it on, and leaps from a building hundreds of meters high. Luckily, the jacket keeps her from harm. She escaped and hid beneath the bridge. Only when the patrol craft failed to detect her did Tally finally breathe a sigh of relief. Unfortunately, she accidentally kicked a stone into the river, and, as expected, the craft immediately picked up her presence. In that perilous instant, her classmate Shay appeared out of nowhere, and the two of them jumped onto Shay's hoverboard and took off. The craft gave chase, but with a born speedster at the controls, they shot through the thickets and quickly shook their pursuers. At last they were safe, collapsing in laughter. The adrenaline-fueled escape forged a deep trust between them. Afterward, they slipped into the cafeteria to celebrate, then sat talking about their childhoods and properly introduced themselves. The next day, Shay even came to Tally's room to invite her out riding again. Tally stepped onto the board and immediately wiped out face first, but over time she learned to handle the hoverboard properly. Tally asked to add Shay on social media, but Shay didn't use it. Too pointless, she said. So instead she took Tally to her favorite place to kill time. Shay picked up a sphere, selected a map, and threw it onto an open stretch of ground. It unfolded into an extreme hoverboard park. Shay performed first. Tally watched and soon picked up Shay's moves. When Tally asked when Shay would undergo the surgery, Shay answered, "Tomorrow," then added that she had no intention of changing her appearance. In an era when everyone wants to be more beautiful, this baffled Tally. To her, Shay sounded like an oddball. Shay insisted that people shouldn't depend on looks to measure themselves, that they should live independently and find happiness from within. Before Tally could reply, Shay cut her off and told her to meet at the Greenbelt on the edge of the city in 2 hours. Curiosity led them to an abandoned city, a relic of a civilization humanity had left behind. There Shay revealed the truth. A man named David and a place called Smoke City really exist, and she had been there many times. There, outward appearance doesn't matter. Inner worth does. Shay said she wanted Tally to go with her, to a place where everyone is equal. The idea upended Tally's worldview. Though Shay tried to persuade her that it was a fairer life, Tally ultimately refused. She didn't want freedom, she wanted beauty. With no other choice, Shay left Tally a map that only she could decipher. Then David lit a signal fire to guide Shay away. The long-awaited day of Tally's operation arrived, but something unexpected happened. Dr. Naya, who oversees the surgeries, ironically plain despite creating beauties, asked to see her. Naya said Shay had gone missing and probed Tally with insinuations, hoping she would reveal Shay's location. If Tally talked, the surgery would proceed immediately. Tally kept silent, and her procedure was postponed. Back in the dorm, Tally's mind churned. Just then, Piries, whom she hadn't seen for a long time, appeared at the window. They embraced in overwhelming joy. He warned that if Tally didn't disclose Shay's whereabouts, Naya would revoke her eligibility for surgery. Piries urged her on. They had worked so hard to become beautiful, and he didn't want her mocked for staying ugly. Besides, what if Shay truly was in danger? Once again, Tally hesitated, torn by conflicting feelings. Under Piries' urging, she went to Naya and agreed to help find Shay. Dr. Naya revealed a secret. David was researching a covert weapon capable of attacking the city. She wanted Tally to infiltrate David's base and uncover the weapon's secret. Naya then handed Tally a necklace to use as a communication device. Guided by the map Shay had left, Tally set off. She crossed mountains and oceans. When hungry, she foraged plants, and when exhausted, she found places to sleep. The road was harsh, but for someone raised in safety like Tally, it was a wholly new experience. At last, she reached a valley where a white sea of orchids stretched to the horizon. Lying down among the blossoms, she drifted into an unknowing sleep. She woke to thick smoke, stood up, and recoiled in horror. She was encircled by a sea of fire. Just when all seemed lost, a brave man appeared and saved her, David. Quite an entrance for a simple rescue. He scanned Tally. Surprisingly, though her necklace was a tracking device, the scanner found nothing unusual. Once she was secure, David brought Tally to a base. After days apart, Shay and Tally embraced, overcome with emotion. Croy doubted that Tally could have reached the base on her own. Normally David picks newcomers up in the city, as he did with Shay. David, too, was wary, but added that if Tally was truly that capable, they should make use of her. That night Tally tried to persuade Shay to leave with her. When she learned Tally meant to take her back to the city, Shay was disappointed. She urged Tally to go home and live the life she wanted. Tally kept explaining that she was worried because she'd been thinking too much. The two eventually reconciled. The next day, the group prepared to depart, but first they had to burn the white orchid fields. David explained the orchids were toxic and drained the soil's nutrients. Tally countered that they were a clean solution, as she'd learned in class. David said she'd been brainwashed. Those orchids were deliberately planted to kill other plant life and force people into the cities. To prove it, he took Tally to see for herself. From the aircraft, Tally saw devastated tracts of land wherever the white flowers grew. Under David's command, Shay used a flamethrower to destroy the fields. Just then, the head of city security spotted two unidentified figures approaching the aircraft. In the chaos, Shay accidentally fell from the plane. Seeing this, Tally immediately jumped after her. In the vast blaze below, she finally found Shay. When a scout attacked them, Tally reacted fast, using a backpack to shove the attacker away. Thanks to courage and quick thinking, they escaped. Croy still questioned how the scouts had tracked them since Tally's arrival. David replied that if Tally were a plant, she wouldn't have risked leaping into the fire to save Shay. After this trial by fire, Tally earned everyone's trust. The next morning, they took her to the livable city she'd heard was dangerous. It turned out not to be some high-tech metropolis at all, but a primitive village. People there lived simply, without relying on technology, and no one cared about appearances. They spent most of their time pursuing joy and fulfillment. Tally thought about the weapon Naya had mentioned. She asked, and Shay said they weren't building any weapons. The following day, David took Tally to practice with a crossbow and noticed her palms blistered from tasks she'd never done before. When they returned, a woman who had been burning orchid fields was injured and needed treatment. She reported they'd been attacked by city scouts who were unusually strong, able to pass straight through the flames. Tally said that in the city they claimed David had a weapon and would wipe the city out. David said nothing, only telling Tally to follow him. David took her to his home and introduced her to his parents. Tally joked that he looked so much like his father and mother. Who else would he resemble? The neighbors? There, she finally learned the truth about the secret weapon David was working on. It turned out David's parents had once been colleagues of Dr. Naya, and together they had developed a technology to make people more beautiful. Over time, however, they discovered that those who underwent the procedure gradually lost their emotions and sank into a state of artificial happiness. There were even a few deaths, all hushed up. When the two were investigating these side effects, Naya stepped in to halt the inquiry and seized all their research. Only then did they realize Naya's entire plan was a conspiracy. He had sown the white flowers to trap people inside the cities, then used genetic surgery to wipe their independent thought, turning them into puppets under his control. The weapon Naya claimed could destroy humanity was, in fact, a medicine meant to treat those whose minds had been altered. The truth left Tally in despair. She tossed the necklace into the fire to destroy it, and decided to live a simple life at David's side. The two sealed it with a kiss, not noticing the necklace glowing an eerie blue in the flames. At dawn, the roar of engines jolted everyone awake. Naya's scientific battalion was attacking the village. The elite scouts, strengthened by Naya's experiments, were terrifyingly powerful. Peary's, after selling Tally out, had been promised an upgrade to make him even more handsome, but in reality Naya had turned him into a weapon of war. Though the villagers resisted, they were no match. They were quickly rounded up, and AZ was forced to reveal David's location. To flesh David out, Naya sent Peary's forward as a threat. Maddie begged for her husband's life, but Peary's killed him. Naya then turned to thank Tally for her help. Furious, Tally protested that Naya had never said she would harm the villagers. Believing Tally had betrayed them, the villagers cursed her. Panicking, Tally fled into an armory, locked the door, splashed gasoline across the floor, and set it alight. She leapt out the window and ran. A pursuer followed, and the room exploded. In the chaos, David also escaped. Tally, crossbow in hand, took aim and dropped one of the attackers. Naya ordered her forces to cease pursuit and burn the entire settlement to the ground. Tally found David, but he no longer trusted her. After a while, with apologies and explanations, she'd come to love this place and no longer wished to change her appearance. David calmed down. He wanted to return and rescue the villagers. Tally wanted to go too. She had been inside Naya's building and could help get him there. Tally sought out her close friend Sussy, borrowed an identity ring to infiltrate the city, and asked her to rally as many students as possible to create a diversion. Today would be their day of revolt. The students rampaged through the skies, forcing patrol craft to break formation. Using the distraction, Tally and David slipped in on hoverboards and penetrated the laboratory complex. They reached an underground block, but Sussy's ring couldn't open the detention wing. Suddenly, a guard opened a door from the inside. David dropped him in an instant, and Tally stripped his ring to unlock the gates. They opened the cells holding the villagers and led everyone out. Shay, however, was nowhere among the crowd. Croy said she'd been taken to surgery earlier. Tally rushed to the operating room, only to find the procedure already complete. The bitterest shock of all, Shay, the girl who once scorned appearances, now looked smugly satisfied with her newfound beauty. Just then, Naya appeared with Peary's and threatened to force all three of them into the surgical pods. As the procedure began, a helicopter suddenly hovered outside. Croy and his squad arrived, and the flames from their flamethrowers wrecked the operating room. Tally led Shay out, while Maddie discovered the final component needed to formulate the antidote to genetic alteration. Just as they were about to escape, Peary's blocked their way. Tally stepped forward and tried to reach his feelings with her own. After a heartfelt exchange, Peary's began to regain his emotions. Misreading the moment, the ever-heroic David attacked Peary's, and the two clashed. David could not match the strength of someone who'd been perfected. Tally saved him at the last second with a hoverboard maneuver that sent Peary's tumbling outside. Once Peary's emotions fully returned, he sacrificed himself to save the group. The antidote was now complete, but Shay refused to return to her original appearance. Though she knew Shay wasn't thinking clearly, David's mother, the scientist overseeing the trials, refused to force anyone to undergo treatment without consent. Otherwise, she said, she'd be no different from Naya. Faced with this dilemma, Tally chose to sacrifice herself as the first test subject. She believed she wouldn't lose her emotions, and was willing to become a puppet, if necessary, to save humanity. Everyone left Tally behind, and Naya quickly piloted a craft to seize her. In the end, Tally's reversion succeeded. The scar on her hand proved her feelings remained intact. That's where the film ends. If you'd like me to recap another movie, drop your choice in.